Hello, hi, I'm Juras Yahya, co-founder of OSPROV, your organization's handy software. We provide flexible process automation so you can automate your critical manual processes easily using our easy to use software. Alright, so today we are going to continue what we learned yesterday. Yesterday I touched a bit on PHP Laravel. Basically it's a tool, a programming language with a framework so that you can easily design an apps application using components that is already there. Okay, so I think let me go back to a bit of a history on how actually I delve in this programming, in doing programming lah. So I think it was a long time ago when I was maybe I think in form 1 that's when I'm 13 years old. I remember that the first time that I went to computer lab in my school. Last time I went to MCKK, Malay College Kuala Kangsar. uh, Once I've attended the first time in the computer class, I already was mesmerized by the computer. I really love that you have this machine where you can do a lot of things. So it's like when you are with a computer, it's like you are being a creator. You meaning that you create something. So I imagine that you can do a lot of things with the computer. So the first programming language that I learned back then was using BASIC. They have the computer that they have in the lab is the NEC computer, the old big screen, the green screen. Last time there's no color on the monitor, it's a green screen. But I remember doing some programs using that software, using that programming language, the Basic. So let me just show you what I did last time. Okay, I remember that in the language I was trying to, I think I want to draw. Last time, at that age I was fascinated by jets. So I want to draw some fighter jets. So I first sketched this on a graphic paper. If you remember, during school you have this graphic paper. You can use this graphic paper to, usually you use it to draw mathematical stuff lah. But instead of doing for mathematical stuff, I draw this jet and I plot it in a coordinate. You have this x coordinate and then you have this y coordinate. So I draw this jet fighter. Sorry, my drawing is quite ugly. Okay, and then you have okay, for example, okay, you have these coordinates. Here is 0. You have, for example, 100 and then 200. So what I did in the language is actually I draw line by line. This one is what we call polygon. So I draw line by line for the polygon. So in the Basica language, what I did, Basica, you have something like this. You have this. You have to put the line number. So I did something like this. Line, if I remember lah. So this is the coordinate x, y, 2, x, y. So this one is x1, y, y1, x2, y2. So it's like I'm drawing a line from this line to this line. So this is one line. And then I repeat the process. So I'm going to have a lot of lines here to draw this jet fighter. So that's how the language evolved during that time lah. So you have Basica. So I remember last time for Basica you can use go to. I can go to 20. So I can go back to this line. So this is basic language lah. Basic programming language. So this is the first programming language that I learned. And then when I went to university, we did programming using, okay, I did some using C last time. So this one is quite a hard programming language for me, because in C last time you have this pointer. What you doing with this pointer is that you can actually, okay, in computer you have this memory access. So using a pointer, you can actually access the contents inside a memory. So C is very powerful in that you can do a lot of things. That's why most of the operating system is either written in C or other languages which is similar to C lah. So you can, because you can access the low level information lah in the memory. Okay, so after that, during that time in 90 something, 1995, 96 I think, web is become more popular. But last time, for web language, what we have is that, okay, the first evolution last time you have if this called CGI. So CGI is where you have some scripts that can run web lah. At that time you have this Cold Fusion. So when you have Cold Fusion, it simplifies the way you do programming lah. At that time there's still no PHP lah. Only when I'm already in a working environment, I do some PHP programming. And then after that I do have a bit on Ruby on Rails. And now for my company we totally use PHP Laravel lah. Okay, my point is that the programming language that we see here evolve a lot. So let me just delete this one. Okay. So let me delete it. Okay, so hold on a second. Okay, let me create a new one. Okay, in programming language we have what we call the generational language. So you have the first generation language. Okay, what it means by first generation language is that, okay, you have, for first generation language, it's like machine language. So this is very low level. So what it means by machine language is that you put some instruction. So actually a machine can only know binary 0 0 0 1 1 0 and all that. Okay, so this is example of a machine language. Okay, and then this is like an instruction to the machine, but this one is not what we call human readable lah. You don't understand this. I don't understand this too, but the machine understand it. So they have what we call the second generation language, which is usually the assembler, the assembly language. But assembly language also is very high, very low level. So instead of having this, you might have something like move. Okay, you have this instruction, move A something to with what value. So you actually manipulating the memory and also the registry in the computer, and then you can do some example. You want to do some operation like you want to add the value together or something like that in the memory location lah. So you have this kind of really low level. So usually but people still use assembly because this one is, for example, you want to do a driver, so you use that one. But another thing, when using assembly language, you going to do like for example, it's very specific to your architecture lah. So if you have, like example, Intel, and then you have in your mobile phone, so it's a different architecture, so you have a different kind of assembly language. Alright, so then we have the bulk of the generation language is the 3GL. So this is where you have kind of like human readable, like the C, you have Java. Okay, even PHP is considered one of the third generation language, but this one is more advanced lah, more advanced 3 generation language. In that PHP, all this is more user friendly and in a language like structure lah. So PHP, and then you have like Ruby. So all this is much easier for human programmer lah. And then the next one, you have the 4th generation language. 4th generation language is what we call a specific generation. So you can have like, okay, example of a 4th generation language is like SQL. Because reason, you have this SQL syntax to query on specific database. So you have SQL query. So that one is called a 4th generation language. And then you have what we call now we have this for data scientists. You have the R language. So R language is more for data scientists. So it's statistical based. Okay, and then finally we have, okay, the latest one is the 5GL. Okay, but 5GL actually it doesn't, it's still conceptual lah. Okay, you have this 5th generation language. This one is like, okay, in the previous language, you have what we call the algorithm. Algorithm is like you give a set of instruction to the computer to solve a certain problem. So it's algorithm. Is step 1 you do this, step 2 you do this, third you do this, fourth is using this. So it's like an instruction lah. Okay, but the 5th generation language is actually more in the domain of AI. You have a it's not an instruction lah. You want that, like the ideal state you have. Okay, this I have this problem, I want to solve it. So I expect that you have what is the solution. I mean the end result that you are expecting. End result. Okay. You expect it in end result, and then the AI or whatever software will try to solve it themselves, meaning that they will create the algorithm and all that. Okay, in a way, the product that we develop, the OSPROV, is actually is a 5th-generation language lah. In that you can have complex workflow using easy to use tools. In our OSPROV, we have, for example, you can generate the form, you can add the meetings, you can make the workflow approval and all that. So you can do it in a easy way without any coding. But then our software will translate it into algorithm that can be executed using a computer lah, meaning as a software lah. So that is the 5th-generation language. Okay, so my point is, you can see that there's a very the programming language evolves quite a lot nowadays. You can start from a machine language. Luckily, we don't have to do any programming using machine language now. So we can have a very easy to use language like PHP. And then we also have a framework. So that's where we have now Laravel that can help us a lot with all the building blocks that we can use. So you can see the evolution of all the programming language. So you can see that in machine language is very 1001. This one is really hard to program, but even earlier programming language, they use a punch card. So you have instruction, you punch it manually, and then the computer will interpret it. So that's we can see actually what the point I'm trying to make is that we have to be grateful with what we have now, with the technology now. Make it make it easier, and more people can access, more people can learn about programming language compared to previously. Because previously, one of the reason why programming language evolved to much simpler now is because last time we have a limitation in the hardware, because the hardware is not that great. The computer, you have very limited memory, and then the processing speed is also not that fast. So you have to optimize, really optimize your codes. So that's why people sometimes write in machine language if they want to have a really fast program, or they will write in assembly, and then you will have a compiler. Okay, basic compiler is they translate the assembly high level language into a low level into a machine language. So that's a compiler. But then as hardware becomes cheaper, we have more memory, we have more processing power. That's why the programming language evolved into a much better and more human readable. So we can have language that we can easily understand. I take one example in that. Okay, for example, you can use a PHP example. Let me just take one example. Okay, in PHP, okay, if you do a assembly language, most likely the instruction will be like this: 10001. Okay, you're going to have a lot of sequence because you are manipulating the memory. So all these are operation. So it depends on your sorry, no two, it's 01. Okay, in assembly you might have MOV A1 to X, and then you will have a lot of instructions here. So maybe here you will have 10,000 lines, for example. In here, maybe the lines is reduced to maybe 2,000 lines of codes. 2,000 line of codes. Okay, but if you do in PHP, okay, you can do, for example, okay, I take, let's say we all these codes, we just want to use a simple operation. You just want, for example, I have this user that I want to use. So in PHP, you can assign this to a variable. Okay, let's say I have all the users. I want all user. So you can see that the syntax or language is very English-like. You have here, from here you can just That's why you do not need to code too much in a new programming language, because here you can see it's already descriptive. You can see from here, what I want is that I want to have user all user. I want to return all user, and I want to assign it to this value. So you can have all user. Okay, and then once you already have a user, you can do something like this. For each, so even the keywords that they use is already descriptive enough. So I can see here for each of the users, okay, I want to do something here. So I want to display, for example, the user IC number. Okay, this is an example lah. Okay, so you can see that the language is made more accessible and more readable. So from here, even without any comments, I can already know that okay, what I'm trying to do here. Okay, I want to take all the users, and then I want to look into each of these users. So that's what it means here. For each of the users, I'm going to just get the IC number. Okay, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. If you want to count here, 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, as opposed to maybe 2,000 lines or 10,000 lines. So that's the beauty of using a high level programming language lah. So that's why we have all this generational language. And as time move on, most likely it will evolve into a really we don't know how it's going to be in the future lah. Most likely we will have a lot of AI, but even with AI, I think I believe that we know that AI can replace a lot of jobs, but who's going to program the AI? You still will need a programmer to program it. You can have whatever advanced machine learning or whatever. In the end, there will still be people, humans, that is going to look at the codes, look at the program, and tweak the AI to do some things that they are supposed to do lah. So AI is not like what we see in Terminator and all that, where it's really like human right now. Usually AI is very specific function. So you still need a programmer to do tweaking, to program the AI to do something. For example, you have like, okay, you have where from the image, the AI can describe what is the image all about. So there's still a programmer need to do all the training data and all that. They need to train the AI. So what I'm getting into is that even in the future, a lot of jobs will be replaced by AI. That's one fact that you cannot argue about. But you will still have programmers who are still relevant that will program the AI, and those who control this AI will be what we call the masters of the universe lah. So that's why I believe programming skill is not just, last time it's just like a nice to have skills but now it's more like a survival skills. You will need to have it. It's like learning to swim or learning to read, learning to do simple math. So that is all what we call survival skills nowadays. Alright, so I think I've talked enough about the programming language. So in my next episode, I will start maybe teach you about how we can set up the environment if you want to start doing programming using PHP Laravel. Alright, thank you for listening. Don't forget to share, follow, comment if you haven't followed yet, and then share it so that a lot of people can benefit from my tutorial lah, because I'm doing this from scratch. In fact, I'm also going to learn some new stuff. Even if it's using PHP Laravel, I'm going to learn about Jetstream. I haven't known about this framework yet, about Jetstream, so I'm going to use that one. So we're going to learn together. So it's a really great process. So you can have an idea on how my thought process is going to be lah. Meaning that I will also be a student in this. So it's not just you, where I'm the only one who teaches you, but I'm also going to be a student. I'm also going to learn. So we're going to see that how we're going to learn using Google search and all that, what terms that we're going to use, and which site we can get some tutorial on that. So it's a good thing where everybody will benefit from this, and I'm also going to learn a lot from this journey lah, from my Facebook live that I'm going to share with all of you. Alright, thank you for listening. That's all.